Hi guys, welcome back. In the last session, we understood what is IOC container and why we need to go for IOC container. So can you tell me what is IOC? What is IOC guys? IOC stands for inversion of control. IOC stands for inversion of control. So what is the purpose of IOC? What is the purpose of IOC? IOC is responsible to manage and collaborate dependencies among the classes in our project. So it is going to manage and collaborate dependencies among the objects available in the application. What is the input we will give for the IOC container? Java classes we will give as a input for the IOC, as well as configuration also we will give as a input for the IOC. IOC container will create the objects and will manage the dependencies and will provide spring beans. What is the meaning of spring bean? Any Java class which is managed by IOC container, that is called as spring bean. IOC is responsible to perform dependency injection. What is a dependency injection? Injecting one class object into another class object is called as dependency injection. How many ways we can perform that dependency injection? 3 ways. One is by using field injection, setter injection, and constructor injection. Right. How many ways we can start the IOC container? 2 ways. As of now, 2 ways. When you go for Spring Boot, we can see different approaches available. Currently, remember that IOC container can be created in 2 ways. What are those 2 ways? One is by using Bean Factory, another one is by using application context. So out of this Bean Factory and application context, Bean Factory is outdated, application context is the recommended approach to start the IOC container. And we are trying to develop our first application by using Spring to understand how application can be developed with the loosely coupling by using IOC container and dependency injection. Now let's start creating that project now. So let me open my workspace. So the very first step, create a Maven project. Why we are using Maven? Build tool. I don't want to download the jar files manually. I want to use Maven to download the jar files. Let me delete this project. It is deleted. Now let me create a new project. Observe the steps carefully. File, new. Here, if you see Maven, you can select that. If you are not able to see Maven, go to other option and select a project as Maven project. This is our first project by using Spring, not Spring Boot. Spring Boot will start later point of time. I'm creating a Maven project. File, new, other, go for Maven, click on next. Here there is an option called skip archetype selection, create a simple project. Simple project nothing but standalone project we are creating. We can create standalone project as well as web application also by using Maven. First I am going for standalone application creation. Select this option, click on next. Group ID, you can give anything. Basically company name we will give as a group ID. Artifact ID is nothing but a project name. So Spring App 1. I'm taking this as Spring App 1. Packaging type, jar file. Click on finish. So with this, our Spring application Maven project is created. In this Maven project, if you see by default, Java 1.5 is added. That is a problem in the Maven. Like right click on the project, go to build path, configure build path, library, edit. Change from the 1.5 to the latest version of the Java. So what is the latest version installed in this system? Let me identify that. See program files, Java, yes, JDK. JDK 11 is available. Okay. So click on that JDK and apply and close. Select that JDK. Finish, apply, close. So I change it to JDK 11. My project is created. Now, in this project, I want to use Maven. In this project, I want to use Maven. So in the Maven project, there is a file called form.xml. This pom.xml file is called as Maven configuration file. In this file, we need to add Maven dependency. In the project class, we will understand what is Maven, how to work with the Maven. For now, just to create the Maven project and add the dependency. Where we can find the Maven dependency? Maven dependency we can find in a website called mvenrepository.com. Right? Go and search for Spring context. Search for Spring context. Click on the context. I'm taking the last version of the 5.x. We can use the 6 also. Right? Now, let me take this, copy this. If you click, that will be copied. And go here, add that as a dependency. I'm adding Spring context dependency in the pom.xml. That means I'm telling to Maven to download Spring context to my project and add the jar files to my project build path. AOP, beans, context, core, expression, JCL, whatever the jars are required to develop a standalone project by using Spring, it downloaded all the jar files. Fine. So once these jar files are downloaded, now I want to create my project. Okay, I want to create my project, same project. Right, let me go and create a project, classes. Main Java folder. In the main Java folder, first I am creating an interface with a name called iPayment. Here, these classes I am creating inside in.ashokid.beans. So I created a package called in.ashokid.beans. In this package, I created one interface called iPayment. So here I'm writing one method, public boolean process payment. Now it is expecting double bill amount as a parameter. Expecting bill amount as a parameter. Here we have already seen the diagram. So this is my requirement. I need to create this interface. For this interface, there are several implementation classes are available. So first interface is created, iPayment. In that interface, there is a method, process payment method available. Why I am creating interface? Why I am creating interface? I want my classes to be loosely coupled. Now, for this interface, I will create implementation class. So debit payment, debit card payment. Like this, I'm taking a class with a name called debit card payment. Click on finish. This class should implement that interface, right? Implements iPayment. What is the meaning of implementing a interface? Overriding abstract method of the interface. So there is a method called process payment method. Simply write system.out.println debit card payment successful. Just I want to give you a message saying that debit card payment successful and return true. If here some logic will be available in the real time to deduct the amount from the card. Now I am not going to do that. So just I'm creating a method and I'm writing one SOP statement to understand that this method is executed and I'm returning true. True means payment success. Assume that. Now debit card payment. Similarly, let me create another class with a name called credit card payment. So this also is going to implement the same interface. Implements iPayment. Perfect. Override that method. Now here same logic I'm going to write. Credit card payment is successful and return true. Instead of debit card, I will mention that as credit card. Perfect. So with this, our interface is ready. Implementations also ready. With this, dependent classes are ready. Let me create my target class. What is my target class here? My target class is a payment service class. Now let me create new class which is payment service. Payment service. Payment service want to talk to payment classes. Directly we need to talk to the payment classes, or directly we should not talk to the payment classes. Directly we should not talk to the payment. So then I'm going to use interface reference variable. I'm using interface reference variable. Why I am taking interface reference variable? Why I am taking interface reference variable? Interface reference variable can hold any implementation class object. In this variable, I can store credit card object, I can store debit card object, I can store any other card object also. Now, let me write here method public void do payment. Public void do payment. Here I am going to call payment dot process payment. This method is expecting the bill amount. That method we are going to call by passing bill amount. Right. So same amount I'm going to pass to interface method. So this method is going to return Boolean status value. So if status is true, then print the message payment success, receipt printing. Receipt printing. If it is false, then we will say card declined. Something like that. Card declined. So this is my logic. Now tell me, my payment service class is tightly coupled with the payment options or it is loosely coupled with the payment option? My payment service class is loosely coupled with the payment option. How can I say it is loosely coupled? How can I say this class is loosely coupled with the payment options? Because my class is not directly talking to the payment classes. My class is talking to interface. So that's why we can call it as loosely coupling. Now, whoever want to do the payment, whoever want to use my method, they should inject a dependent object into this variable. To inject the dependent object into the variable, I will write one constructor. I will write one constructor. I am providing a constructor for them to inject dependent object into my target object. So now I have a constructor in the class that is a parameterized constructor. It is a parameterized constructor. Whoever is going to create the object for the class, they should pass the dependent object. So target class is expecting dependent object through constructor. So the people who want to call my method, they need to perform constructor injection. They need to pass interface implementation object as a parameter. That object I will initialize into this variable. Whenever I call this method, which object is injected, that class method will be called. Okay, guys? Right. So now here, can I say my method is a polymorphic method? What is a polymorphism? One object, multiple behaviors. If you pass credit card object, it will call credit card process payment method. If you pass debit card object, debit card payment method it is going to call. So method is same, behavior is changing based on the requirement. So we can say here we are able to achieve polymorphism also. Good. Now here my classes are ready. Target class is ready. This is my target. These are my dependent classes also ready. Now I want to test my application. I should perform the dependency injection or I should use IOC container to perform the dependency injection. We should use IOC container to perform the dependency injection. For IOC, we need to provide classes as the input and we need to provide configuration also as the input. How many ways we can provide the configuration? Configuration we can provide in the two ways. One is XML configuration, another one is annotation configuration. Now let me create one XML file, guys. Let me create one XML file. New, here go to other option. There is a concept called Spring Bean configuration file. Is coming or not? No, this option is not coming. Now I need to create one XML file. Go to other and here let us check in the Spring Boot. Option is not there. Let me go and create one XML file. So here I'm giving the name as beans.xml. You can give any name as for you can give any name for the file. I'm giving the name as beans.xml. Create a file from the template. Create a file using DTD schema. So we don't have that. Create file from a template. Click on next. Click on finish. So with this my XML file is created. With this my XML file is created. So here in this XML, we are not getting any suggestions. That means how to write that Spring configuration. We are not getting any suggestions. In order to get that suggestion, we need to make a change in the XML. Let me take Spring Bean configuration XML file. Go to XML based configuration, official documentation, Spring Bean configuration XML file. Click on this file. Now here it is giving the configuration. Just to take this configuration and copy into our XML like this. Bean definitions here. I have taken the basic XML configuration which is required for our beans configuration. How I copied that? I go to Google Spring Bean configuration XML file. When I click enter, I'm getting Spring official documentation docs.spring.io XML schema based configuration. Click on this. When I click on this, scroll down, here they are giving XML schema type code here. Just I am taking this code and I am copying into the XML file which we have created. Okay. Now here the XML is having a prologue. We will understand in the RESTful services what is this XML and all. Here we have a tag called bean tag. What is the bean tag? Bean tag is used to configure Spring Bean classes. In my project, there are some classes available. The classes which I want to manage by using IOC container. Hey IOC, you take these classes, you create the object for these classes. Which classes IOC should manage in our project? Those classes we need to configure in the XML configuration file. Are you guys getting my point? Now, how to configure the class? To configure the class, there is a tag called bean tag. Bean ID is equal to some ID we can give for that class. Okay? And class is equal to fully qualified class name. Right? What is the class name? It is credit card payment option. Right? I think it is not coming here. Bean ID is equal to credit. Sorry. Bean ID is equal to credit. Class is equal to, I want to configure a class which is credit card payment class. So that class is available in which package? in.ashokit.beans.credit card payment. So this is called bean definition. It is used to configure one Java class as a Spring Bean in the XML based configuration. Are you getting my point? So I have a class called credit card payment class is available. I want to represent that class as a Spring Bean. Why we need to represent class as a Spring Bean? IOC will create the object. IOC will perform the dependency injection. If IOC should create the object for the class, IOC should recognize that which class it has to manage. For that, I am configuring my class as a Spring Bean in the XML. What is the tag to configure the class as a Spring Bean? Bean tag. Bean ID is equal to, ID can be anything. You can give ABC also. But make sure every bean is having a unique ID. If you are configuring 10 classes should have unique ID. Now I am configuring a class credit card payment. So here I'm giving the ID as a credit and I'm giving the class as credit card payment. So this is called bean definition. This is called bean definition. What is the meaning of bean definition? Configuring one Java class as a Spring Bean. Similarly, I want to configure another Java class as a Spring Bean. Same process. Bean ID is equal to debit, class is equal to in.ashokid.beans.debit card payment. Debit card payment. I am configuring this class also as a Spring Bean. Now I have here one more class, payment service. Bean ID is equal to payment. Bean ID is equal to payment. Class is equal to in.ashokid.beans.payment service. So these three classes I want to represent as a Spring Bean. One is the target class, two are the dependent classes. So these three classes I want to represent as a Spring Bean. Now, do you know how to represent Java class as a Spring Bean? How to represent Java class as a Spring Bean? By using bean definition. So in the XML, beans tag is available. Inside the beans tag, you can configure multiple beans. So bean ID is equal to credit, class is equal to fully qualified class name, right? Now here, bean ID is equal to debit, that is a debit card payment. Bean ID is equal to payment, it is payment service. Now here, my beans configuration file is ready. Let me go for a test class. In this test class, I want to start my IOC. How many ways we can start the IOC? No need to write the notes. I will give the material. Close your books. All of you, close your books. Just concentrate on the class. So if you writing the notes, our course will take 1 year. Right? So I will send that material. I'm already preparing that material. Just listen to the concept. After the class is completed, I will upload that notes. Okay? I just started the material preparation also. I will give this. Fine. So here I have created a test class, and in that I am writing a main method. Main method is entry point for my execution. In this main method, I want to start IOC container by giving XML file as an input. How many ways we can start IOC? Come on, how many ways we can start IOC? IOC container can be started in the two ways. One is by using bean factory. Second one is by using application context. Right. So let me go for application context. Application context is equal to new class path XML application context. XML application context, it is expecting config file as an input. That means a configuration file, it is expecting as an input. So what is that file? Beans.xml. We created that file, right? Let's give that file as the input. That is beans.xml. Beans.xml file I'm giving as input. So with this, we are able to create the IOC. Let us see IOC is creating or not. Run.java application. Failed. What is this? Class not found exception. That means it is not able to load the class in.ashokid.credit card. Cannot load the bean class, cannot find the class with the bean name credit defined in the file, class not found exception, credit card payment. It is not able to find the class. Refresh. In.ashokid.beans. Okay. In the XML, yeah, credit card payment is there. There is a spelling mistake in the class name. Okay, run as Java application. Now we are getting some other issues. No such method exception, failed to instantiate, no default constructor found. So here IOC container is expecting a default constructor to create the object. Okay, I'm writing a default constructor and I'm writing parameterized constructor also. Good. Now run as Java application. I'm running as a Java application. Am I getting any issue now? No issue. I'm getting any output? No output. We just created our IOC container. Okay. Here there is a constructor available, zero param constructor. Let me write here a message. Payment service constructor executed. Payment service constructor. I want to see constructor is getting executed or not. What is the meaning of constructor is executed? Object is created. Now go to credit card payment and let us see this constructor also. Credit card payment constructor. System.out.println credit card payment constructor. If an object is created, constructor will be executed. If a constructor is executed, this message will be printed. Now go to debit card payment class also. Now write the zero param constructor, which is default constructor, debit card payment constructor. Payment service class having zero param constructor as well as parameterized constructor. Credit card payment having zero param constructor, debit card payment also having zero param constructor. Now, what I am doing in my main method? In my main method, I'm creating IOC container by giving XML file as an input. What is there in the XML? In the XML file, bean definitions are available. How many bean definitions I configured? 3 bean definitions I have configured. Now let's run this project. Run as Java application. Go to that console. What happened? What happened now? Credit card payment constructor is executed. Debit card payment constructor executed. Payment service constructor also executed. What is the meaning of constructor execution? Objects are created. Did I ask IOC to create the object? So it is reading that bean configuration file. How many bean definitions are available? There are 3 definitions are available. It loaded all the 3 classes and it created the objects also. Generally, Java programmers are going to create the objects by using new operator. But here I am creating the object, IOC container creating the object, IOC container creating the object. Can you tell me the definition of IOC? It is a principle which is used to manage and collaborate dependencies among the object. Fine, one problem solved. From now onwards, you no need to create the object by using new operator. Which class object you want, you just represent that class as a Spring Bean, then IOC container will create the object. Are you clear with my point? Now, object is created by IOC container. How to get that object from IOC? I want the object to call my method. Payment service object is created. I want to call do payment method by using this class object. So how to get the object from the IOC? To get the object from the IOC, there is a method called getBean method. What is the method, guys? Context dot get bean. What bean object you want? I want to get payment service bean. So let's specify which class object you want from the IOC, right? So context dot get bean of payment service class. That means I'm telling to IOC, hey IOC, you loaded the bean XML. You loaded my configuration file. You created the objects, give my object. I will use it to call my methods, right? How to get the bean object from the IOC? To get the bean object from the IOC, we are calling a method called context.getBean of class type. Which class object you want to get, that class type you have to specify. Are you clear? Now, let us store that into a variable. Payment service. So with this, I'm able to start the IOC container and I'm able to get my bean object also from the IOC. Once I got this service, can I call the methods of that? Service dot do payment. Some value I'm giving. Do payment. Can you tell me what is the output if I run this program? Yeah, fine guys. Now I'm starting my IOC container by using application context. When I'm starting the IOC container, I'm giving beans.xml file as the input. So when I give that, it will load the XML, it will load all the bean definition. For this class, object is created. For this class, object is created. For this class, object is created by IOC container. Once the object is created by the IOC container, I want to get the object from the IOC. To get the object from the IOC, we are using a method called context.getBean method. A method called context.getBean. What is the parameter for the getBean? Type of the class I am passing. That means I want to payment service class object. So I got that service object. Once I got that service object, I'm using that object reference to call the do payment method. So when I call the do payment method, what will happen? This is using variable dot method. What is the value available in the variable? Did I inject any value? Am I using the dependency injection? No, I'm just creating the objects and I am calling the method. So this variable will contain a null value. Null dot method. What will happen? Null pointer exception. Now run this program, run as a Java application. We are getting null pointer exception. Why we are getting null pointer exception? IOC container just to created the objects. It did not perform the dependency injection. Why it did not perform dependency injection? We did not tell that. So I told that just load the beans. When I give the classes, IOC creating the object and giving the objects for me. Now I need to tell to IOC, hey IOC, perform dependency injection also. Perform dependency injection also. I need to tell to IOC which is a target class and which is dependent class. Which class object it has to inject into which class object. We need to tell in the configuration file. Okay. Now here I am having constructor. This is zero param constructor, zero constructor, and this is parameterized constructor. One is a zero param constructor, another one is parameterized constructor. Now let me run this application and see which constructor it is using for payment service. It is using zero param constructor by default to create the object. Now I want to tell to IOC, hey IOC, inject credit card object into payment service using payment service constructor. I want to tell perform constructor injection. What is the dependent? What is the target? What type of dependency injection required? I need to tell to IOC. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. In order to tell that, here in the payment service file, in this payment service configuration, we need to write a tag that is constructor-arg. What is the tag we need to write there? Constructor-arg. So constructor-arg tag represents constructor injection should be performed for the payment service class. Are you guys getting my point? Where I am writing the constructor argument tag? Inside the payment service. Why? For this class we need constructor injection. In this class constructor is available. This class constructor should be called. Okay, constructor-arg name is equal to, what is the variable name? Payment. Now, which object we need to inject? Reference is ID of the dependent. What is the ID of the dependent? My ID of the dependent is credit. So I'm giving credit as a reference. Constructor-arg tag I'm writing. Constructor-arg tag I'm writing. The name of the parameter, that is name is equal to payment and ref is equal to credit. So this name is optional, that is not mandatory. Then ref is required. What is this ref attribute representing? Ref attribute representing what is our target bean ID. So ref is equal to credit. Then what it will do? It will inject credit card object into payment service through constructor. If you want to perform constructor injection, then we are going to use constructor-arg tag. All this is outdated content. XML. Anybody using XML? No, just for idea. So in future, we are going to use annotation, but basic idea should be there. Now here, I'm configuring bean definitions. So this is one bean definition. This is one bean definition. This is one bean definition. Payment service bean definition having a tag called constructor-arg tag. What is the meaning of constructor-arg tag? I want to perform constructor injection for the payment service. Then what is the dependent? Ref is equal to credit. What is this credit? Credit is the ID of this class. That means this credit card payment object will be injected to payment service. I am injecting, IOC will inject, IOC will inject. Now let's run this program, run as a Java application. Credit card payment is successful, bill is printing. So dependency injection happened or dependency injection not happened? Dependency injection happened. In the whole project, am I creating object anywhere? Am I creating object anywhere in the whole project? I'm not creating the object. I'm telling to IOC container to create the object and inject the dependent object into target object. So here I am performing constructor injection. Similarly, I want to go for setter injection. I want to go for setter injection. To perform the setter injection, what is required? To perform the setter injection, what is required? Setter method is required. Let me write public void set payment of I payment of payment. Then this dot payment is equal to payment. Okay. In my project, in my target class, I have an option to perform constructor injection as well as setter injection. If a dependent object is injected to target through target class constructor, that is called as constructor injection. If a dependent object is injected to target using target class setter method, that is called setter injection. If a dependent object injected to target using the variable, that is called field injection. Are you guys getting my point? Yes, perfect. So here I have setter method and I have constructor. But IOC will use the setter method or IOC will use the constructor? Why it will use the constructor? Why it will use the constructor? Because constructor-arg tag is available. So let me write one small SOP to understand. System.out.println set payment method is called. Setter method called. Just for understanding. Setter method called. Okay. Let me run my program. Run as Java application. Setter method is calling or setter method is not calling? No. 3 bean definitions are available. So for three classes, objects are created and dependent object injected to target object using target class constructor. So there is setter method and we have setter method, we have constructor. But why I was using only constructor in this scenario? Because I specified constructor-arg tag. Now I want to go for setter injection. Now I want to perform setter injection. To perform the setter injection, there is a tag called property tag. What is the tag, guys? Property. Property name is equal to payment, ref is equal to debit. So what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? I am telling to my IOC container to inject debit card object into target class using setter method. How IOC will understand when to use the setter injection, when to use the constructor injection? How IOC will understand when to use the setter, when to use the constructor? Based on the tag we are writing. If you write a property tag, then it will perform setter injection. If I write a constructor tag, it will perform constructor injection. Now right click, run as Java application. Setter method is called, debit card object is injected and receipt is printing. Are you guys clear with this configuration? Yeah. How to configure Java class as a Spring Bean? To configure Java class as a Spring Bean, we are using bean configuration file. What is the root tag of the bean configuration file? Beans is the root tag. Beans is the root tag. In that beans, we can configure any number of beans, and every bean should have a unique ID. Suppose if I give bean ID as A, here I can give as B, here I can give as C, no problem. Now ref is equal to A. What is the meaning of ref is equal to A? I am injecting credit card object into payment service. If I give ref is equal to B, debit card object. If I give ref is equal to ABC, it will fail. It will check for a bean with the ID ABC. Is there any bean available whose ID is ABC? Not available. Let's try that. Now I am giving ref is equal to ABC. Go to test class, run as Java application. It is failed. No such bean definition exception. Boss, I'm not able to find any bean with the name ABC. So if we need to give the reference as the bean ID which is available. Instead of ABC, we are giving some meaningful name. Credit card payment ID is credit. Debit card payment ID is debit. Payment service ID is payment. And I am writing property tag. Suppose if I write both constructor arg and setter. Constructor arg name is equal to payment and ref is equal to credit. So for one variable, I am performing two dependencies, two injections I am doing. For the same variable, I am performing constructor injection and I am performing setter injection. Now, which payment process will execute? Credit card or debit card? Credit card or debit card? Debit card. Why only debit card? First constructor injection will happen. It will inject the credit card object. Then setter injection will happen. It will inject the debit card object. So this setter injection is going to reinitialize the variable with the object. Now run this. Run as Java application. So constructor is executed first, then setter is executed. Variable is reinitialized. Constructor injection injected credit card. Setter injection injected a debit card. So the final transaction happened with the debit card. So what is the conclusion? Setter injection will override constructor injection value. Constructor will execute at the time of object creation. After object is created, setter method will be called. So setter will execute at the last. It is going to override that variable. Are you guys clear with my point? Yeah. See. So see this interface we have created. iPayment interface is available. In this, I have a method called process payment method. For this interface, credit card payment is one implementation class. Debit card payment is another implementation class. And I created payment service class. Payment service class is expecting interface reference variable. Here I have 0 param constructor and here I have parameterizer constructor and I am having setter method and I have a actual method. So this setter method constructors are used to perform dependency injection. I want to inject dependent object into target object. Either I can go for setter injection or I can go for constructor injection. Now in my project, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files are available. In this, 4 are the classes, 1 is a interface. But in the bean configuration file, how many definitions I configured? Only 3 definitions I configured. I want IOC container to manage only 3 classes. So it should manage credit card payment. It should manage debit card payment. It should manage payment service. It should create the object for the payment service. And it should perform constructor injection. And it should perform setter injection. So whenever you write constructor or property tag in the bean, then that class will consider as a target class. Are you guys getting my point? Suppose if I remove these properties here, it is also a normal Java class. Just object will be created. Dependency injection will not happen. Why dependency injection will not happen? I'm not telling that. I'm not asking to perform the dependency injection. Now I will write it. Constructor-arg name is equal to payment, ref is equal to credit. Then what IOC will think? Okay, this person configured payment service as a Spring Bean. In the payment service class, he configured constructor arc, name is equal to payment, ref is equal to credit. That means I need to create the payment service object by using constructor. For that constructor, I need to pass credit object as a parameter. So like that, IOC will think and IOC will perform the dependency injection. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. So any questions, anyone? People from online? Anybody not able to understand this project? Anybody not able to understand this project? First Spring application. First Spring application. Good. Now guys, where I created the configuration file I created in the main Java folder. Configuration file I created in the main Java folder. Okay. Let me give screenshot also for that. So this application I have created, this project whatever I have created, this application having a pom.xml file is having my configuration. Pom.xml file is having this is my project folder structure, guys, right? So I have created a beans package. In that beans package, my classes are available. In the main Java, I created a file with a name called beans.xml. In the pom.xml, I configured this dependency. So this is Spring dependency. After adding the dependency configuration, that means the jar files are downloaded. This is my beans.xml. The beans.xml file contains this configuration, right? So this is the configuration for beans.xml. So root tag will be beans. Just you can copy this file and keep that in the XML, right? So here this is one bean definition. This is another bean definition, and this is another bean definition. The remaining classes can you create? The remaining classes can you develop? Interface and implementation classes, can you develop them? Yes or no? Yes, good. So with this we understood what is the dependency injection, how to perform the dependency injection by using IOC container. So can you tell me how to represent a constructor injection, how to represent a setter injection, how to represent constructor injection, how to represent a setter injection? So here, if I use constructor -arg tag, that will represent as a constructor injection. Constructor injection will be represented. Constructor injection will be represented like below. Then what about setter injection? What about the setter injection? To represent the setter injection, we are going to write the property like this. If I write a property tag, then it will be called as setter injection. Field injection in the XML, you cannot do the field injection. If you go for annotations, then you can do the field injection. In the XML, we have only constructor injection and setter injection. If you want to perform the field injection, we need to go for annotation concept. In the annotation, we will understand that. Okay, fine, good. So with this knowledge, can we develop our car application also? Can we develop the car application also? Yes, now we understood what is IOC, what is DI. With this knowledge, I want to develop car engine application. First, let me take the diagram. Here, I'm taking one interface with a name called iEngine. Here, it is having a method called start method. Having a method called start method. So any engine which you want to develop should follow my interface rule. iEngine is an interface which is having a start method. For this interface, I can write the implementation classes as a diesel engine and petrol engine, like that. So two classes I'm taking as implementation classes for the interface. How many implementation classes we can have for a interface? Any number. Any number of implementations can be available for the interface. I have taken iEngine. In that iEngine interface, there is a start method. That interface having two implementation classes. One is a diesel engine, another one is a petrol engine. Now, I am going to take my target class. My target class is a car. Inside the car class, I will take interface, IEngine, ENG, and void drive method. Void drive method. One method I am taking and one variable I am taking. Method I am taking and variable also I am taking. Perfect. So I am taking a engine directly, or I am taking a interface in the car. Why I am taking interface? Why not the class? For loosely coupling. Now my car will talk to interface. Through interface, it will talk to implementation class. What is the benefit? Tomorrow, if I add the new engine or if I remove the existing engine, there is no effect on the car class. Are you clear? Fine. So I want to develop this application now. Can you tell me the procedure? I want to develop this by using Spring with IOC container and dependency injection. Perfect. Let's start. So what is the first step I need to do? Which project? Normal Java project or Maven project? Maven. How to create a Maven project? Other option, select Maven and select Maven project. Next, simple project. What is the meaning of simple project? I want to create a standalone application. So create a simple project. A standalone application will be created. Click on next. What is group ID? Company name. I'm giving Indot Ashok IT. Artifact ID. Project name. So I'm giving 04 Spring Car Engine Application. 04 Car Engine Application. Click on finish. Okay, project is created. By default, which version of Java is coming? 1.5. I want to change to Java latest version. How to do that? Come on, how to do that? Right click on the project, build path, configure build path, edit this library, select alternate JRE, JDK 11, finish, apply, close. So with this JDK 11 is available. It is just a Maven project. I want to use the Spring in this project. How to use the Spring in our project? By adding Spring dependency. Where I can find the Spring dependency? mbnrepository.com. Go to pom.xml. In this pom.xml, any dependency available or dependency not available? Dependency not available. Then how to add the dependency? First write one tag called dependencies tag. Inside the dependencies, we can add a dependency. Where to find the dependency? mbnrepository.com. Okay, let's go here. mbnrepository.com. What dependency I need to set? Spring context. Spring context. Go to this. Select the version of the dependency you want. 5.3.25. That is the last version in the 5.x version. Copy. If you click, it will copy. If you are creating Gradle project, you can click on the Gradle. This is the dependency. If you click Maven, Maven dependency. Now go to this, add the dependency. Right. So with this, I added Spring context dependency. See the Maven dependencies. Jar files are downloaded or not downloaded? It has downloaded the jar files. Okay. With this, my setup is ready. With this, my setup is ready. Now we need to start creating our classes. How to create our classes? First, we need to create the car or interface. What is interface? What is interface? I'm not asking the name. I'm asking the definition. What is the interface? Interface contains a set of abstract methods as well as default and static also. Why we should write the abstract methods? To tell the developers to implement the same method. So developers should not write their own method. They need to follow my interface. Whoever is working on the engine, they need to follow my interface, right? So let me create a interface, new interface. So package name, you can keep anything as a package name. I'm keeping it as beans. So here, interface name, iEngine. So method, I want to write a start method. Public integer start method I'm taking. Public integer start. Okay, perfect. Next, I want to implement this interface. How to implement this interface now? Come on, guys. New class. So here I'm taking one class called diesel engine. It is implementing iEngine. Implements iEngine. Perfect. override the start method. So let me just write a SOP system.out.println diesel engine started. Diesel engine started. I'm giving the return one positive number. Okay. Similarly, petrol engine, new class. I engine. Override the start method. System.out.println petrol engine started. Return 1. Along with this, I will write a constructor to understand objects are created or not. So here system.out.println, I'm going to write systrace diesel engine constructor. Okay. So with this, diesel engine constructor will be executed. Petrol engine constructor also I'm writing just for why I am writing these constructors? To create the object, to understand the object creation, to understand. So if I don't write this constructor, what will happen? Compiler will add the constructor. If I don't write the zero param constructor, then Java compiler will add one constructor. If I add the constructor, then compiler will not add that. Okay, fine. Diesel engine class having a constructor, petrol engine class also having a constructor. So with this part is completed. This part is completed. Now I need to create my target. Okay, target is having a dependent. Let me create a class, new class called car. New class called car class. Right. So car class is having a dependency with a private I engine eng. Now let me write a method, public void drive method. Public void drive method eng dot start method. Eng dot start method. It will give integer status. Okay. If status is greater than or equal to 1, then journey start. Journey started, else engine trouble. Engine trouble. Okay, fine guys. So with this, Maven project is created, Spring dependency is added, and classes also created. What is the next step? What is the next step? First, I need to configure the classes as a Spring Beans. Where to configure the classes as a Spring Beans? Where to configure the classes as Spring Beans? In the bean configuration file. Okay. So where to create that configuration file? Main Java. Right click on this, new. What file I need to create? XML configuration. So create the XML. Click on. What is the name? Any name I can give. I'm giving the name as beans.xml. So create a new XML. Finish. So in this XML, the beans is not available. I want to configure the beans. How to do it? Take that beans. What I need to set? Spring bean configuration XML file. Spring bean configuration XML file. Go to the first link, docs.spring.io, official website of the Spring. Now here, copy these beans. Just take this beans and go to XML and paste it. So with this, we are able to configure the beans tag. Inside the beans tag, we can configure the beans. So do you know how to configure Java class as a Spring Bean? How to configure Java class as a Spring Bean? So by using which tag? Bean tag. Bean ID is equal to diesel. Bean ID is equal to diesel. Class is equal to we need to configure diesel engine class in dot Ashok ID dot beans dot diesel engine. One Java class is represented as a spring bean. Then next one, bean ID is equal to petrol, and class is equal to in dot Ashok ID dot beans dot petrol engine. Now I have a car. How to configure the car? Bean ID is equal to car and class is equal to car. Bean ID is equal to car and class is equal to car. Bean ID is equal to car, class is equal to in dot Ashok ID dot beans dot car. So here, how many bean definitions available? 3 bean definitions available. Forget about the dependency injection. Now, just I want to start my IOC and I want to see the behavior. Perfect. Now go here, create a test class. Do you know how to start the IOC? Yes. How many ways available to start the IOC? 2 ways. Tell me that. Main method. Tell me how to start the IOC container. Application context. Context is equal to new class path XML application context. Context is equal to new class path XML application context. New class path XML application context. So config file we need to pass. What is our file name? beans.xml. So when I start my IOC container, what will happen? It will load the beans from the configuration file. It will create the objects for the classes. The classes will be managed by the IOC container. The classes which are managing by the IOC are called as Spring Bean classes. The classes which are managing by the IOC container are called as Spring Bean classes. Perfect. Save this, run this program, run as Java application. Can you see? Diesel engine constructor, petrol engine constructor is also executed. What about the car? Constructor available or constructor not available? Not available. Let me write a constructor. Now let me write system.out.println car class constructor. This is also zero param constructor. Run as Java application. So for 3 classes, objects are created or not? When the objects are created, whenever IOC container started, immediately it is taking the XML file, it is reading the bean definitions. For the bean classes, objects are created by IOC. Now I want to get the car object. from the IOC. Can you tell me how to get the car object from the IOC? Come on, how to get the car object from the IOC? But which method is used to get the object from the IOC? Come on, man. Get bean method. Tell me the syntax. Context dot get bean of car dot class. So car is a spring bean. I want to get the car object. What is the return type? Car object. Now let me call C dot drive. What is the output? What is the output now? Null pointer exception. Why null pointer exception? Because I'm not performing the dependency injection. I just configured my classes as Spring Bean. IOC container started. IOC container loading the bean definitions. IOC container creating the bean object. IOC container giving the bean object. Can we go to our diagram here? What we are giving as the input for IOC? What IOC providing for us? Java class we are giving as the input. Configuration file we are giving as input. What it is providing? Spring Bean. What is a Spring Bean? The Java class which is managed by IOC container is called as the Spring Bean. The Java class which is managed by IOC container is called as Spring Bean. Are you guys getting my point? Perfect. Now I got the bean object. I'm calling the method by using the bean object. When I call the method by using bean object, it will go to drive method. eng dot start. Eng is a instance variable. When the object is created, memory will be allocated for instance variable with the default value. What is the data type of the variable? Interface. So what is the default value? Null value. Null dot method. Boom. Null pointer exception. So it is going to give null pointer exception. Run this program. Run as Java application. Null pointer exception. Do you know how to avoid this null pointer exception? How to avoid this null pointer exception? Inject the dependent object into target object. So how many ways we can do that? In the XML, either setter or constructor. Tomorrow when we go for annotation, field injection also we can do. Fine. Tell me, I want to perform setter injection. I want to perform setter injection. Properties. Okay, can I write a property here? Can I write a property here? Where should I write the property? Inside the bean tag. Okay, fine. Can I write a property inside the diesel engine? For which class we want a dependency injection? I want dependency injection for diesel engine or petrol engine or for the car. For the car, I want the dependency injection. So what is our target? Car. So where should I write the property? Where should I write the property? Inside the car. Okay. So inside the car, let me write a property. Let me write the property. Property. What is the name of the property? Property means a variable. For which variable we want dependency injection? ENG variable. So what is the property name? ENG. Can I write like this? Why? For which variable we want a dependency injection? ENG variable. So property name is nothing but variable name. Yeah. Okay. Is it sufficient? No. 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 What we need to write? Ref. What is the meaning of ref? Target. Dependent, not target, dependent. Which dependent we want to inject? I want to inject petrol. Okay. Let me give the ref is equal to petrol. So that what will happen? Petrol engine object will be injected into car class. So I am doing the dependency injection. I am asking IOC to do the dependency injection. I am asking IOC to perform the dependency injection. Okay. Let's go to this test class. Run this. Run as a Java application. Failed. What is this? Not writable property exception. Okay, good. So here we are writing a property tag. What is the meaning of the property tag? What is the meaning of property tag? To perform the setter injection. To perform the setter injection, setter method is required. Do I have a setter method in the target? That's why it is not able to inject it. So if you want to perform the constructor injection, constructor is required. If you want to perform the setter injection, setter method is required. So in the target, setter method is available or setter method is not available. Setter method is not available. Let me write the setter method. Come on. Come on. Public void set eng. Set eng. Is this okay? No. Is that setter method fine? No. Why? Setter method needs input to initialize the variable. Which input it will expect? I engine. Why I engine? Why not diesel engine directly? Tightly coupling. If I take a diesel engine, always a diesel engine will be injected. I don't want that. I want a interface so that my class will be loosely coupled. So I'm writing a setter method with a parameter. Fine. So here in the XML, I'm writing the property tag. Property name is equal to ENG. The meaning of property name is equal to UNG is call the setter method for the ENG variable by passing petrol engine object. So that is the meaning of this line. Property name is equal to UNG, ENG, ref is equal to petrol. What I am telling to IOC is, hey IOC, for the ENG variable, call the setter method. That method is expecting a parameter. You take the ref value. This is a bean ID, petrol. You take the petrol engine object and you call this a setter method by passing the petrol engine object. Then that petrol engine object will be stored to this variable. So when I call the drive method, eng.start, eng variable will contain which object now? petrol engine object. So petrol engine will start. Are you guys getting my point? Yes. Now run as Java application. Petrol engine started, journey started. Are we able to perform the dependency injection now? Come on, guys. Good. Now in the real time, what will happen is we are going to create service class and we are going to create a DAO class. Service class will be available and DAO class will be available. Okay. So this is car and engine class. We are doing the dependency injection here. Okay. Now we need to change that XML file. Without touching the Java code, we can change the XML. Okay. Now, in the real time, what will happen is when we are developing persistence logic, suppose for example, I want to create report to DAO or I want to create a class user DAO. User DAO will be created as a interface, guys. User DAO will be created as a interface. In this interface, I'm writing a method find a name by taking ID. I want to pass ID as an input. I want to get the name as an output. User DAO, I'm taking user DAO is a interface. For that interface, I will create a implementation class. For this interface, I will create a implementation class. Okay, what implementation class I can do? Here I can create user DAO IMPL. Oracle user DAO IMPL, MySQL user DAO IMPL also we can create. So I want to get the name from the Oracle database as well as from the MySQL database. So one interface can have multiple implementation. Here I'm taking only one interface implementation class. So implementation class will have name like this, user DAO IMPL. So interface is available. For that interface one, implementation class is also available. One interface and it is having a implementation class. Here I am creating one class called user service. What is the class name? User service. In the user service, I will write a method print name. I will write a method print name by taking integer ID. So now service method should get the data from the database and it has to print it. Who will contain the database logic? Where the database logic will be there? Service layer will contain the database logic or DAO layer will contain the database logic? DAO layer will contain. So DAO is dependent on the service. Service is dependent on the DAO. Service is dependent on the DAO. So I'm going to take user DAO. This is a variable I'm going to declare. This is my interface reference variable. What is user DAO? User DAO is a interface. That interface object I'm injecting into my target class so that user service class can talk to user DAO. User DAO is having DAO IMPL. In the real time, we are going to develop the classes like this. DAO interface will be available. For that interface, implementation class will be available. Business logic we are going to write in the service layer. Service layer method should talk to DAO method. Now, what is the target? What is the dependent? What is the target and what is the dependent here? Target is user service. Dependent is user DAO. DAO is having how many implementations? Only one implementation. That implementation object we need to inject into service class. All right. So here, how many ways we can do that? Setter, constructor. To perform the setter injection, setter method is required. To perform the constructor injection, constructor is required. Are you guys clear? Can you develop this application? Is it difficult or easy? Now, where should I write the property tag? In the which bin I need to write the property tag? Property tag I need to write in the DAO or property tag I need to write in the service? Come on. Service. Why service? Service requires DAO object because service method want to talk to DAO method. DAO object should be injected to service. So can you tell me bin configuration file for this? Can you tell me bean configuration file for this? Yes, tell me how to write the bean configuration file for that. How to write the bean configuration file for that? So first beans tag will be available. Here beans tag will be available. Then here bean will be available, or else let me write in the notepad. Okay. So what is the root tag we are going to write first? The root tag we are going to write as a beans. Inside the beans, what we will write? Bean. One bean tag represents one bean definition. Bean ID is equal to user DAO IMPL. User DAO IMPL. After ID, we should write a class. So package name dot class name. What is my class name? User DAO IMPL. Next one I need to write bean ID is equal to report. Bean ID is equal to report service. Class is equal to package name dot report service. Fully qualified class name. Report service. So like this I have taken bean ID as user DAO IMPL. For this bean ID I have taken bean tag I have taken. For this I have taken the bean tag. So this is the target or this is the target. Service is the target. Now how to inject the dependent into target now? How to inject that? I want to go for setter injection. How to go for the setter injection? To go for the setter injection, property name is equal to the variable name. Whatever the variable is available, ref is equal to user DAO IMPL. That's it. So this is the bean configuration file for that application. Now from the IOC, which object I want to get now? From the IOC, which object I want to get now? From the IOC, I need to get the DAO object or service object. DAO calling service, service calling DAO. Then which one you need to call? Service. You will call the service method. Service method will call the DAO method. We need to get the target object, right? Earlier I got the car. I got the car object or I got the engine object? Car. I will call the car method. Car will call the engine method. I will call the service method. Service method will call the DAO method. Are you clear? Yes. Can you develop this as an assignment? Yeah. I will give this also in the notes. I want you people to develop this requirement also. So this is a car requirement and here payment requirement is available. Here payment requirement is available. I want you people to develop these three applications by using Spring. I want you to develop these three applications by using Spring. One is payment requirement. Another one is car requirement. Car requirement is available. And another one is service and DAO requirement is available. If you are able to develop these three applications, then I can assume that you understood what is the dependency injection and what is IOC container. Is there any difficulty in doing these three applications? Can you develop these three applications? No or yes? Yes, perfect. So here I have given the project structure also what we need to create, and I have given the dependency also. You need to configure in the pom.xml. I have created, so this I have given bean configuration file also for you, right? So fourth step is create required Java classes. Create required Java classes. Fifth step, create bean configuration file like below. Bean configuration like below. Then after creating the bean configuration file, fifth step, create test class. Create a test class and start IOC container. So how to start the IOC container? Here we know application context we are using to start the IOC container, and for that we are giving configuration file as a input. So this is the logic that you need to write to start the IOC container. So create the test class to start the IOC container. How to start the IOC container? I have given the code. So application context is equal to new class path XML application context. Configuration file I am giving as input. Once IOC container started, it is creating the object for that. Once IOC container started creating the object for the beans. How to get the object from the IOC container? How to get the object from the IOC container? By using getBean method. So here Constructor injection we will represent by using constructor arg tag. Setter injection will be represented by using property tag. What is the ref attribute here? Ref attribute represents. What is the ref attribute representing here? Ref attribute represents which dependent, which object should be injected. Which object should be injected. So, right. I'm giving ref is equal to debit. What is the meaning of ref is equal to debit? Debit card object will be injected to target object. This is the diagram for the payment application, diagram for the car application, diagram for the service and DAO application. I want you people to develop all these three projects. Perfect? Any confusion? Easy or difficult? Easy. Little bit XML configurations are headache part, but when you go for annotation based configuration, these XML files will not be available. Everything the servlets we have seen. Web.xml to configure servlet to a URL pattern. How to configure servlet to URL pattern with the annotation? Web servlet. So with a simple annotation, we are able to map that. If you go for XML, lengthy configuration will be available. Similarly, in the Spring, we can use either XML configuration or we can use annotation configuration. 2 to 3 examples I will develop more with the XML. Then later we will go for annotation based configuration. Are you clear? Yes. Let me upload these notes, guys. Don't delay your practice. On daily basis, you need to do the practice. Otherwise, things will become complicated. Fine. So this code 29. Yeah. Yep. So I'm going to upload this material. Right. Can you guys check it? Latest material uploaded. Come on, fast, quick. Quickly, can you check it? Latest material is uploaded. Mr. Dell, write your name. Service is a target, DAO is dependent. So try to develop that. If you are not able to do, tomorrow I will develop that program. Are you guys able to access? All of you check it. For full stack people, videos access provided and website access also provided to access the material. Online people, backup videos and portal access is provided. Please check that. Every video will be uploaded within 24 hours, guys. Right. So when the Zoom link is modified, it will be updated in the portal. People who are pending with the enrollment, so please complete your enrollment, otherwise you will miss the session. Okay. Any questions for offline people? No questions. Online people? Yeah. So you can unmute your mic and you can ask your question now. These people also will listen. Guys, you can unmute and you can ask your questions. Unmute and ask your question. I'm not able to hear any voice.
How can I get the access for the portal?
How to get the access for the portal? Once you complete your enrollment process, Tarak, admin team will tell you how to get the access for the portal. I have already shared the enrollment details, right? So course fees is 8,000 for live classes with backup videos 10,000. Once enrollment is completed, then send the payment details to admin team. Admin team will give the access. The people who has not done the payment, you can take the screenshot of this payment process and complete your payment. Then admin team will provide the access for you. This is for the people who has not done the payment. Take a screenshot of this.
1 second. How many sessions will be completed?
Plan 1 8,000 class and videos access we are increasing to 1 year, guys. 1 year video access will be available. 10,000 is the fees for the videos. For live classes, 8,000 is the fees. Today is the last date for the enrollment.
How many sessions is completed till now?
6 sessions are completed. You will get the backup videos for that. Introduction classes are completed. Demo sessions. You will get the backup videos for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Remaining
Ashok,
people.
I have one question, Ashok.
Yeah, please.
If you join full stack, which course will get covered?
If you join for full stack, core Java, advanced Java, Spring Boot, microservice project, everything you will get. If you join for full stack, that is 30,000.
And real time project also, right?
Yes, real time project also you will get.
And any AWS that just
in the project only AWS will be covered in the project class.
Okay.
Only. Okay.
Yeah,
Hello, sir.
that's why I'm thinking instead of going Spring Boot microservice, we can join as a full stack.
Yeah, 30,000 is the
which will
fees for
cover all,
full
right?
stack. Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
And we will give the all videos for the full
Yes,
stack
videos
also, right?
access also you will get it.
Ashok, I have
Thank
small
you.
doubt.
Yes, sir.
I am taking from the Java
Tarak, your
full stack
voice is very low. Speak loudly.
in office side. In
Yeah, speak
Java full
loudly.
stack, in Java full stack I'm taking. How much fees I need to pay?
Java full stack, if you take 30,000, you will get all the Java courses, live
Okay.
classes plus backup videos. New full stack batch is going to start from 23rd March at 8:30 p.m.
832?
8 p.m. 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Core Java, Advanced Java will be taken by other faculty. Spring Boot microservices, Java project I will take.
Okay.
Ashok, we already enrolled for AWS DevOps with AWS. If I join for full stack, any fee consultation? Fee
No, madam, that
reduction will
course is different. This course is different. We are already giving for the best price. No concession.
Yeah, hi Ashok.
Yeah, hi,
Will
Sohi.
you- Yeah, hi. So the thing
Guys,
is, the
please.
videos you have provided,
Guys, be
whatever-
silent. They're asking some questions. I'm not able to listen. Keep quiet. Yeah.
so the
tell me.
videos you have provided for the demo class, will it be always there in YouTube?
Backup video will be uploaded within 24 hours. This class video only will be available for you.
Yeah, up to this class, I'm saying I think videos are uploaded in your advocating.
Yeah,
in
you will,
class.
admin team will tell you how to access the videos. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So today is the last date for the
Sure.
enrollment. Hi, sir.
So if I join in a real time project,
Yep.
Can I continue with in Spring and microservices class also?
22,000 is the fees for both courses. That is separate course. This is separate course. You need to do both. Payment is required for both.
Hello, Ashok. In
Yeah.
pom.xml, how
Yep.
to configure that dependency in pom.xml?
In pom.xml,
How to configure Spring context dependency?
I already gave in the material, right? This dependency, I already shown that in the Maven repository, you can copy this dependency and just to take the dependency and keep in the pom.xml. I already shown that.
Yes, I know about that. But pom.xml file is configure that dependency automatically.
No, you need to copy and paste the here, then it will download the dependency.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what is the duration of this course, SBMS?
This course will take 3 to 4 months of time.
Okay. Sir, and already on 4th of January, one course started of SBMS. Is that completed?
4th January. That is a
Yes.
different course, sir. This is a fresh batch which started last week. It started last week, 6 classes completed.
Okay.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, I am from 17 Java full stack batch. Sir, Spring Boot and microservices is going on. Can I attend that project batch?
Project batch you can attend morning 9:30.
Yes, sir, but still Spring Boot and
Arey yaar.
microservices.
Keep silent, guys. Keep silent. Or else you can leave. No problem. Yeah,
Still
tell me.
Spring Boot and microservices is not completed now. So can I attend this project batch?
You can attend both. I told multiple times in the morning also. Spring Boot microservices, project classes, you can attend parallelly. Okay? There is no problem. Spring Boot
Okay.
microservices, project batches can be done parallelly. There is no issue because
Oh.
first 1 month we will discuss the tools only in the project.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello.
Sir, today's notes is uploaded, sir. But
In the
what
portal
about
it is
before?
uploaded. In the website it is uploaded.
Yes, sir, it is uploaded. What about before classes notes, sir?
So same thing. In that material, everything is available. Just introduction is completed. Na? Everything is there in that material, whatever I have explained. It is a
Okay, the
complete
same
note.
notes.
Yes, the complete,
Oh.
everything is there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Perfect.
Ashok sir, this is Shankar. I am
Yeah, hi,
getting
sir,
some
tell
error while configuring this form. Unable to provision. See the following error it is saying.
Yeah, I will check that. So
Maven
tomorrow,
dependency
yeah,
problem.
tomorrow I will check that issue. Okay.
Hi sir, this is
So
Furkan.
can I connect to using WhatsApp or how sir? It should?
Yeah, we will create a WhatsApp group. We will add you to the WhatsApp group and we will resolve that issue.
I am in WhatsApp group. I just pasted it.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure, sir.
Thank
Send
you.
a message in the group. I will check that.
Hi sir, this course
Hi.
included a mini project.
Sorry.
This course included mini project also.
One
Like any
or two
project,
small mini projects will be developed in this course, not major projects.
like real time, right? Real time project.
Mini project means a small project, man, not real time. So it's a
Okay,
course,
okay.
right? It's not a project.
Sir, can we get any referral?
If I have any reference, definitely I will let you know.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi sir, actually, so I'm creating actually one application like a Eclipse.
So it is coming error like cannot resolve archetype.
Maybe there is a Maven issue. I will tell you how to resolve the Maven problems, right? Maybe you are having a Maven issue in your IDE. I will tell you. Just post in the group. I will check that issue and I will reply.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
Yeah. Fine. Fine, guys. Thank you. With this, I'm stopping for today. We'll continue in the tomorrow session.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Thank you, guys.
Hello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello,
Thank you, guys.
Hello.